everyone, Linda here, the scrapbooking photographer. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new, it's great to have you. It's also great to have you if you're a return visitor. Today I'm taking part in the Mix It Up Monday video, which is a hop on YouTube run by Tara O'Rourke from Peace Love Craft Clubhouse. This is the sketch we've got to work with this month, and it's by Brandy Jo, and you can find her at Scrappy Boy Mama. I have chosen to use the Love Latte set from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to document this photo of my brother and I having a coffee break with some yummy scones when we were going around a bit of a market in Christchurch when I was visiting. So I did have all of these different colours of cardstock out, but I think what I'm going to do is start with a Stampin' Up piece of early espresso, and what I'm going to do is use some texture paste to just put in some of these bricks here. If you're a user of texture paste, you'll know that it's a good idea to keep Glad wrap over the top of the bottle to keep the moisture in. So unfortunately my Glad wrap has been so well used, it's torn in the middle and hasn't actually done the job this last time since I closed it. Luckily I'm at the bottom of the bottle, so after I've scooped this lot out, that will probably be put in the bin and I'll need a new bottle. I'll put some mocha ink on the glass mat and just mix in this texture paste as best I can. As you can see, it's got a couple of little lumps in it, but I figure if I smooth it out and the ink will actually moisten it a little bit and make it a bit more pliable. I believe you can add something to it to make it a little bit more moist once it's lost its moisture, but the ink actually is doing a reasonably good job of loosening it up a bit. So I'll work that around as best I can, and you'll notice how much lighter the texture paste is than the colour of the ink. So that's why I chose mocha, which is more the colour of the cardstock we're putting it onto. But mixing it with the white texture paste gives us basically a kind of a fawny colour because it does dilute the brown quite a bit. So I'll spread it over with my palette knife, and I'm not interested in having it all smooth. I want a textured look to the bricks that I put in the background here. So I haven't taped the stencil down. I'm just using it as a guide and keeping those bits in place as I spread this texture paste and get that kind of rough edged look to it. I'm not doing the whole thing either. I'm just going to use a small piece of the stencil and have that rough edge to the end of it so that it just looks like it's kind of fading off into the distance. So once I have finished putting that on, I'll take it off, and that's the effect that I was looking for. But before I put it out to dry, I'm going to spray on some Tim Holtz Distress Spray or Spritz, which is a walnut colour, and it just has a slight bit of silver. And then I'll also add some gold gloss spray, and that gives it a bit of gold. So you can see the different colours of shimmer that are going to come through. So I've put that off to dry on the side. And then using this hexagon punch from Stampin' Up, I'm just going to make a few things to go in the background. So these two colours are Pecan Pie, which is the brownie one, and then the lighter colour is Basic Beige. I find the Basic Beige an incredibly diverse colour. I can use it in so many different things. And it goes with so many other options as well, so it always seems to coordinate. So I've brought this page back now, and you can see the shimmer there, and when I put the photo on it sits nicely, and I'll pop these hexagons behind and just dry fit them to see how they're going to work behind the photo. And it doesn't take me long to realise that two colours just isn't going to cut it, because I don't want two colours next to each other like that, and so I need to bring in a third. Now, given the background of the photo, I've decided to bring in a little piece of Close to My Heart shortbread, and I think that will mix in quite well with the pecan and the Basic Beige, and also highlight the background colour that's in that photo. So I'll just work these around, and then of course I realise that one of them will be right under the photo. So it's just a matter of positioning them so that we can see the maximum number of hexagons and get the best out of what we've trimmed. So I'll mount the photo also in that shortbread colour because I think that will highlight the background and blend in quite nicely. But before I do any of that, I need to put these torn pieces down the side. So I'm using papers from the Love Latte pack, and this one has the coffee stains on it. Now I'm ripping all of these in the same direction so that we can see the white in the middle of the paper. So that gives a torn white edge to these papers going down the side. This one on top is a slight pinky look to it, and then I want these hearts to go down the side. But what I've done wrong is cut them the wrong way, because I need the straight edge obviously to go on the left hand side of the page, but I want the hearts going the right way up. And on the paper they go in both directions, so I've just used the wrong spot. So I've made another one and I'll make them fit on the side there, and that looks good. So I can pretty much stick everything down that I've got there now, and I'll go ahead and mount that picture in the shortbread, and then use some of the splodgy paper, that's what I call it, from the Love Latte pack to rip around the outside. Now you'll see that the rip on this paper is going the other way. So I'm ripping it away from me so that the white is not on the piece that goes around the photo. So you just have to be careful when you rip it so that you get the effect that you want. So I've left the white edges on the left hand side, and I'll leave this one clear. In the sketch there's another couple of little ripped pieces down the bottom, but I'm thinking that my layout needs a little bit on the top and bottom of the photo, just to balance with the torn strips on the left. So I actually use another little piece of the heart paper, which is already half ripped, and just pop a little bit at the top and at the bottom. I hope you all are having a great day and getting some crafting done yourself. If you like watching videos, then there is a playlist attached to this one where you can see what everybody else does with this sketch. It's always really interesting, and I find quite inspirational to see what other people do when we're all given the same information to follow. So I've got these cups here, or coffee mugs from a previous project, and I just need to stamp in the top to fill in the coffee pit, which I think is very sweet that we can do that. And I'll pop those on the bottom left of the photo. And to bring in a little bit more of the stamp set, there are some little dribbles and coffee stain marks in the stamp set, along with plenty of other things that you can use if you're of a mind. But in this case, I'm just going to use the little dribble ones on those basic beige hexagons. And I think that will relieve the starkness of the lighter colour there a little bit. So you're putting the foam rubber underneath the page so that I'm stamping onto something soft. I can move the page around to get those splodges in the right place, and then I'll double up with the circles, and it looks like cups have been left where they shouldn't be and coffee splodged. And then I can work on the journaling box. Now the journaling box I have made out of a piece of shortbread, and I'm tucking it underneath that little heart piece and underneath the coffee mug. And then I'll do my journaling off camera, which basically just says how we had a lovely time looking around the market in Leeston and stopped for a coffee break. And this extra little piece of ripped paper on the side just balances, I feel, with the same paper that's on the torn edge on the left. So then I'm going to do the title. Now in the sketch, the title is down the bottom underneath everything, but I've kind of filled that space up with my journaling box, so my title is going to go up the top. I will still use two different texts, and I'll cut the letters out with these two thin cut alphabets that I've got, and one will say coffee and one will say time. I've chosen to put time in the bigger letters just because that is the predominant feature of our time together. I don't get together very often with my brother, so the time is very precious. So I'll put these letters up the top, and I think that basic beige just goes really well against the darker background, and it's dotted around the page in other places as well.
I can stick all that down, and the next thing I need to do is add these 2 little cute cups that come with the die cut set of Love Latte, and that just fills in that gap very nicely there. And to finish off, I will just add a few of these little gems that come also with the Love Latte suite. You can get anything separate on its own, or you can get the whole lot and get it all together. But these just in little bits of 3 around the page finish it up nicely, and a few in the bottom left hand corner, and we're done. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'd love you to join me on my journey, and happy crafting, everyone.